Well, farm labor is by far and away the #1 issue that we hear farmers talk about. Well, in this week's Champions of Rural America, we talked to Congressman David Valadao, who represents California's Central Valley. He updates us on where the Farm Worker Modernization Act stands right now.
So, a piece of legislation we've introduced, and it's bipartisan, is the Farm Worker Modernization Act. We've offered it a few different Congresses now. It's actually passed off the House floor in the past. We're hopeful that we can get it to the House floor again this year. We need the Senate to also act and be a part of this conversation. I mean, the Farm Worker Modernization is a bipartisan piece of legislation, so obviously no one loves every part of it. There's things in there that Republicans love and some that they dislike, and some that the Democrats feel the same way about, that they love and they obviously dislike as well. But it is a compromise that has bipartisan support, and so the goal is to move that bill. If there's an opportunity to fix it, make sure that we fix it to the best of our ability so that it works for our agriculture community. But it basically is a piece of legislation to give us the labor force that we need legally for agriculture to allow us to continue to produce food and crops for our country.
Congressman Valadao is an active dairy farmer. In addition to his responsibilities in Washington, he does spend a lot of time making sure Congress does everything in its power to provide relief for farmers regarding their #1 resource, which is water. He says farmers suffer from ongoing water shortages due to drought and years of water mismanagement. He explains how California's Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, or SGMA, plays a role.
So again, SGMA, as we call it at home, is a program that was implemented by the state to basically restrict a lot of our use of water around the Central Valley. And one of our complaints is farmers, as the feds and the state both restricted surface water, and now SGMA comes in and restricts our access to groundwater. And the goal is obviously to protect our groundwater supply, which is a noble cause. But the thing we're struggling with here is if you've restricted our surface water and you're now restricting our subsurface water, it doesn't leave us a lot of avenues for actually growing food and growing our communities. So what we can do at the federal level is look for ways to make sure that we get as much water to the Central Valley as possible. So that includes building things like water infrastructure, again, conveyance, making sure that we have the ability to move water, things like the Frank Kern Canal, the aqueduct, making sure that they have the ability to move as much water efficiently as possible. But anything that we really that we can make a difference on is obviously making sure that we're capturing as much water as we possibly can. And that includes building reservoirs like Shasta, Sites Reservoir, expansions of the projects like San Luis Reservoir, or even other smaller reservoirs like the one where Lake Cahuilla is at, or Lake Success. Those all play a role in making sure that we capture that water, but then once we move that water, do it as efficiently as possible with as little loss as possible, and making sure we're getting it as close to the plant as possible so that we're using every drop as efficiently as possible. Those are all things that we can focus on at the federal level, but obviously the state plays a role in this, and some of the laws they've passed have not been helpful, but we try to help where we can at the federal level.
Well, Congressman Valadao says water, #1 issue for ag in California, and that's why he spends the majority of his time working on those issues.